everyone, this is Tony from Her Homestead Skills, and after the terrible freeze that we had, we're getting quite the warm spell, and I'm certainly going to take advantage of it. It is definitely going to be warmer than normal, whereas just last week it was colder than normal. And yes, Buffalo always gets it worse than we do. Where it threatens here, it actually happens in Buffalo, and sad to say, there was loss of life in that town. But I know that they always get so much snow that they do have the equipment. They are normally geared up for these events, so none of that should have happened. But it was a worse than usual storm, and even though they knew it was happening, for some reason they were not as prepared as they should have been. Anyway, since the weather's good, I'm going to take advantage of it and take a run. I do have to get out to Best Buy. I have to buy this little piece of electronic equipment to expand my USB ports and on my laptop. Since I did all this rearrangement and I bought a new hard drive and I'm connecting my printer to my laptop and this other hard drive to my laptop, I'm running out of ports. And of course I have to hook up cameras to download videos that I produce, so I'm using my laptop now almost always, and just use my desktop as backup. So yes, I need this little adapter, and today would be a good day to go out shopping for it. As well, might be looking for a small turkey if I could find one. Mark stated that he would like to do turkey dinner for New Year's. We do that on occasion, and he makes an awesome stuffing. So if I could find a small one, I'll pick one up. But if not, there is no way that I'm going to get a large turkey just for the two of us. And that's what it will be, is a turkey dinner for the two of us. Now, today I wanted to touch on, with farmers warning us what will happen in the future with the food supply. And a lot of us have taken a lot of that to heart, and we've stocked up, although some of us were stocking up well before that. I'm just looking to see how much of what was described there has actually come to fruition. And one of the items that was discussed in that video was the idea of people who look to their grocery store shelves and gauge their food supply by what they see there. And admittedly, the shortage is still not occurred, but food prices have gone through the roof, and they claim it's around 11% here, and I'm sure that people who actually purchase food will tell you it's a whole lot more than that. And they're trying to find ways to cut back on what they buy. I can't remember the last time I bought a steak. Just a good one is just way beyond my budget. So was not cutting back on steaks, that's for sure. Ground beef, ground pork, chicken, stewing beef, those cuts of meat, ribs, pork ribs. We buy a lot of pork. And there's still, I think I had always been very frugal in my cooking. I like a decent meal, but it was always frugal. It wasn't always the very best cuts of meat. Not like my mother. My mother, I guess her and my dad had experienced, or at least my dad had experienced hunger, so food was never lacking in our home. And I can remember us pointing out to her one time, "Oh, this one's priced better than that one, Mom." And her comment was, "If I have to look at the price." When it came to food, she did not look at the price. But today, I can tell you that there was many things that we did without as children, but it was never food. So it's funny how experiences in your own life reflect on how you raise your own family. So, yeah, I've always been frugal, and learning how to cut back on meals to save money. I don't know how much more I can cut back than what I actually did. Mark does not want to eat carbs all the time, and I can't blame him, although he loves carbs and he makes pasta a fair bit. But he does like his meat, so I do try to always have plenty of meat in the house as well. Now, the warning was that they had been slaughtering many animals that they could no longer afford to feed, and that's why meat was plentiful. Now, for quite a while there was plentiful meat, but then all of a sudden everything started to increase in price. I mean, it was still there, but fertilizer costs, hay costs, feed for the animals, taking what you can get for an animal when you sold it for slaughter. And all of this was pushing farmers out of the business of farming, just because it was getting far too expensive. For a small farmer, I suspect that the larger ones can find ways and means around that, but it was pushing a lot of the farmers out of the industry, not just here in Canada and the US, but across the world. They seem to be pushing farmers off their land, finding ways to do so and reasons to do so, much to their own detriment. I mean, let's face it, the farmer is the first in the chain that should be supported, because the farmer feeds us all. So there's a lesson there, and people are experiencing the cost of food rising, and I suspect it'll never go down again. You know, they might turn around and tell you, oh, we'll get inflation under control and prices will go down, but getting people accustomed to paying a certain price, it's pretty rare that that price is decreased at, a little bit here, a little bit there maybe, but overall, I don't expect food prices ever to go down again, at least not for another 10 years. I think that we've reached a plateau, and we were probably doing quite well before that, and perhaps it was time for an increase. I can't say that. I don't know that. I'm not in that business. But I do not believe food prices will ever drop again. I think we're stuck with those prices. Now, so not only do we have food issues, we have transportation issues, and we've had enough truckers complaining about fuel costs and what they are living with, and nobody's listening. Nobody's listening to the farmers, nobody's listening to the folks who transport things, and so we have this double whammy of products not getting to market. With the attempts to fight inflation, both in Canada and the US, and I'm sure it's pretty much the same around the world, interest rates have gone through the roof. It seems as though the whole world is headed towards a recession, or is in one already, failing to admit it. I'm of the belief that we are already in a recession, and they claim it's pretty odd because there's still jobs available, people are still working, but all the other factors have driven prices so sky high, and we have a shortage of products, which creates, it's always a matter of supply and demand. If there isn't enough supply and there is the demand, prices go up. If there is an abundance of supply, the price will go down. An abundance of supply and not a lot of demand to meet that supply, then the prices will go down. And I don't see anyone working to create a balanced supply issue. We used to have what they call a just-in-time supply chain. Well, the just-in-time kind of collapsed, and now you either have feast or famine. You either have a glut of something or you lack in it, and this is why you're seeing shelves empty in some areas and plentiful in others. And a month or two ago, Canada was experiencing medicine shortages for children. You could not get children's medication, and it appears that has affected the U.S. currently, and there's a shortage of supply there. And the reasons are that distribution, being able to get raw materials, there's always a reason, but how long before they fix the problem? So, and the more they create the problem, when it becomes available, people panic and buy extra. And creates another problem, and creates another shortage. So here we are. What is 2023 going to bring? Is it going to bring more shortages, higher prices, more people losing their homes? I suspect all of that, all of that. The best way, of course, to overcome some of that is to try and buy as much food now as you can. Try to pay off your debts if you can. And if you were planning to retire and you can hang on a little bit longer, maybe now's the time to hang on a bit longer. So, not to be pessimistic, but to be realistic. And we have to consider what we're being told and what you see with your own eyes. And there is a discrepancy. And even what you see with your own eyes sometimes is not something to be believed. Just because you see those store shelves full of food today doesn't mean that those shelves are going to be full of food tomorrow. And that is an issue that a lot of people are starting to recognize. And we still have to keep an eye out for the panic buying. I suspect that we might see that again in 2023. Well, my intention is to buy what I can now and avoid, when I see that happen, that's when I sit at home and avoid that whole scene, because that's when it can get ugly. Anyway, hope you're all stocked up. Overly stocked up, and I am still considering how much more I can get. Once again, anything that you buy today will save you money down the road. Okay. This is Tony from Her Homestead Skills. Just keeping an eye on what the world throws our way. Anyway, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.